sponsors of Fifth Gear.
In tonight's Fifth Gear, Alfa's new 156 GTA in action, LPG, the half-price fuel, and Tom Chilton, the touring car tearaway who's yet to pass his driving test.
I'm driving the new Renault Vel Satis, the car from France which plans to take a pop at the Germans in the executive market. And inside, well, listen. Hello! 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 It's huge!
Without much experience in this market, Renault has taken inspiration from Cartier, Louis Vuitton and Chanel to conjure up a bit of class.
When front and rear passengers can hardly see each other, then that's luxury. And when you can adopt a cab-like lounging position in the back, then you know you're dealing with something very special indeed. But all this space, that's just the half of it. The last time I saw a Renault interior, I wanted to punch it. But this one's quality. Even the wood's tasteful.
This, the Initiale, is at £30,850, the very best Vel Satis money can buy. Sat-nav, leather, electrically adjustable front seats, sun blinds in the back and heated screen wash make it all very posh.
And Renault have also developed the world's quietest ventilation system, which means you don't have to lip read when it's on full blast.
With alloys, CD player and cruise control chucked in, that's a lot of French chic and quite a bit of weight. With its elephant dimensions, the engines and handling are going to have to be pretty special.
And the Vel Satis has certainly raised my eyebrows. The 3.5-litre engine is brisk, the automatic gearbox superb, it's got a new fangled suspension system underneath, which means it digs into corners well, and it's got an ultra-smooth whipped cream ride quality.
So all in all, it's not a bad crack at this very snobby sector. The space is there, the luxury is there, and the prices are fairly competitive, starting at just under 21 grand.
Renault have plumbed in raised seat bases and wide door openings to allow easy access. Hang on a minute. All that space, a deep dashboard, a lofty driving position, a bonnet you can't quite see when you're sat in the front. This is a stealth MPV.
But it doesn't look like an MPV. The Vel Satis hopes to get people out of their Mercs and Beamers by being different.
There's something about the looks of the Renault Vel Satis that I've really warmed to. You might think it's ugly enough to make babies cry, but I disagree. And I'm going to prove it with a baby. A baby. What do you think about those big red lights? Yes. You like it, don't you? Vel Satis, remember that name? In 20 years' time, you'll be able to pick these up for about 200 quid. What about that big shiny badge? Look at that. What about that wing? You love it, don't you? Does that kicking mean you like it? I don't know why I'm talking in a stupid voice. I was right, not a whimper. Firm proof that the Renault Vel Satis is the car the executive sector has been waiting for.
Pay, pay, pay. That's all we motorists seem to do. Every year, running a car gets more and more expensive. There's never any good news.
Yes, there is. You see, the government has handed us motorists a single crumb of comfort. They want more of us to run our cars on this, liquefied petroleum gas. No, you shout. I'm not driving around with a bomb in the boot. Well, it's going to be your loss, because what I'm about to tell you is going to save you money. Absolute bundles of it.
I've just paid 17 quid for 45 litres of gas. The same amount of unleaded would normally set me back £35. I am macheting my fuel bills in half. Let me show you how it all works. LPG is pumped from a tank in liquid form, mixed with air by injectors and then blasted into the cylinders just like petrol. Most LPG cars are bi-fuel, so they can run on petrol or gas at the flick of a switch.
Now, I know what you're going to say. Oh, no, there aren't enough LPG stations. Well, you're wrong. There are 1,100 in the UK, and over the last 2 years, they have been opening up at the rate of 1 a day. But let me put it another way. I've been running this converted Jeep for, 6 months, and I have only had to switch back to petrol twice because I couldn't find a garage. So broadly, if you live in the Outer Hebrides, you might have a problem, but anywhere else, you should have no worries at all getting the stuff.
Conversions cost around 1,500 quid, and if the gas tank is sited under the floor, you won't lose any luggage space. If your car's less than 5 years old and there's a proven reduction in emissions, you'll qualify for a government grant of up to 70%.
That's right, Gordon Brown will actually give you money. What other reason do you want?
Well, you're probably a bit nervous about tales of cowboy fitters turning hatchbacks into Hindenburgs, but the government-run PowerShift organisation have a strict list of suppliers who offer warranties. Stick with that and you won't go far wrong.
Graham, you're only one of about 100 approved LPG installers, and you run this 7 Series yourself, which has been converted to gas. Why is it such a good idea to convert to LPG?
Basically, because I'm running a BMW at Ford Focus costs. It costs about £2,000 to convert this vehicle. I get 24 miles to the gallon on petrol, about 21, 22 on gas. So therefore, in pound note terms, I'm getting 40 miles to the gallon when I'm running on gas. We've converted everything from a 1.25 Fiesta to a Rolls-Royce. We've done BMWs, Mercedes. We do a lot of Ford Mondeos. There is a government grant on that, and we've got a whole batch of grants with a 60% grant from the government.
So what's the future of LPG?
Well, we've now got an LPG system for diesel vehicles. We have a Range Rover running TDI engine with diesel. It's about 35% more torque, so it accelerates much better than it did previously, and your overall fuel costs are reduced.
So you can go faster for much less?
Indeed, you can.
I must admit my petrol Cherokee performs just as energetically on gas, but don't take my word for it. A certain Mr. Tiff Nadell has acknowledged the benefits of LPG too.
As have several local authorities, Hampshire and Yorkshire Police, and John Prescott. Even our cameraman has converted his car to LPG. Say hello. And the director is driving a dual-fuel Volvo. So we've had a completely petrol-free day, and it's been utterly delightful.
And we've been kind to nature. LPG chucks out much less nasty stuff compared to petrol and diesel.
I've been blasting these bluebells for the last 5 minutes, and not a single friend of the earth has raised so much as an eyebrow. And that's why the government have promised not to raise the duty on LPG because of its environmental benefits. You mean to say you don't believe them, but they're the government. All right, on your behalf, we spoke to the Treasury.
They told us that LPG duty is frozen in real terms until 2004, and as long as LPG stays cleaner than other fuels, the low tax will continue. But if you're still wavering, I've one more example that may persuade you.
Because LPG is the chosen fuel of the royal household, no less. They've got Rolls-Royces converted to run on gas, and Prince Philip motors around London in a gas-powered taxi. We're in good company.
But don't convert everything in sight to gas just yet. There are a few caveats. You can't take an LPG car through the Channel Tunnel. If you've got a small motor and don't rack up a big mileage, then the benefits of conversion are slim. And don't assume everything qualifies for a grant.
For me, the LPG argument is an absolute no-brainer. You save wardrobes full of cash, you help the environment, and the best bit of all is the government bungs you some wedge to do it. Look, if you run a seriously thirsty car or do a big mileage, you cannot afford not to convert to gas. LPG, the half-price fuel.
For more information on LPG and the programme, check out the Fifth Gear website.
The one thing that teenagers always ask me above anything else is, where's Vicky? But the second thing they always ask is, how do I get started in motorsport? A few years ago, your best bet was to find your local racing team and offer to make the tea. Not anymore though, because, believe it or not, you can now study motorsport at college or even university. About 30 courses are run in the UK for everyone from school leavers to degree students. When these lads aren't spending their lunch out the local kart track, they're studying at college for a national diploma in motorsport. But one of them, 17-year-old Tom Chilton, isn't just another student, because he's already putting the theory into practice. Before he's even passed his driving test, he's stepped off the podium on his British touring car debut. An amazing result for anyone with just 3 seasons of racing behind them, let alone a teenager. At 14, Tom was the youngest ever person to start a motor race in the UK when T-cars were introduced as a touring car training ground. And with 7 wins under his belt, Tom has found enough sponsorship to swap it for the real thing. But his debut included a clash with the '92 champion. Was there a slight bit of guilt in the back of your mind? Because there was a small incident with Mr. Harvey. Did you not feel you might be in trouble?
No, he definitely braked early. And he said it in the week before in Autosport that, you know, all these young people, you got to brake test them and all this. And that's exactly what he did. I tried avoiding him, but once you've locked up, these cars weigh over a ton. They're, you know, once they're locked up, they just don't stop. There's nothing I could have done.
He wasn't very nice about you afterwards, though, was he?
No, he was a bit mean, actually.
Really upset because it was a great race with lots going on, and then on the last lap, when someone who's barely passed his driving test whacks you up the back so hard it puts you in the kitty litter, you can't give yourself back the place. Maybe he needs a bit more experience before he races at this level.
Have you spoken to him since?
Oh yeah, I've spoken. Yeah, we're cool about it.
That first drive, did it come naturally? Did you think, oh, I can do this? Or was it, ooh, I'm a bit scared of this? How was the first feeling?
Yeah, the first feeling is like, oh, do I brake here or there? And then when you start sliding, you think, oh, this feels right, this is really good. And then you start to, like, adding, you know, your little bits on each corner, and they all add up, and it just feels really good, that buzz. And that's when I felt that, you know, motorsport's for me.
And what about this staying at college and getting a few more qualifications? I mean, do you enjoy that side of it?
I'm finding that every little bit I'm learning from college, it's sort of like helping me to set up my racing car. So when I come into the pits, I can sort of like describe in more detail what to change, and it is helping, and I'm learning all the time. It's really good.
This now sort of dominates your life, you know. Most 17-year-olds are having fun, going partying. You've got to go racing.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much every other weekend, or most weekends, I am racing. As soon as I get back from college, I have to do at least an hour and a half of fitness training, my personal fitness trainer. And then you've got to squeeze in a bit of homework for college, and then you can eat and go to bed. So it is pretty hectic.
So have the girls at the college noticed this new young man, you know, at all?
No, I haven't actually. No, it's really weird. Like, all the lads sort of like notice me, but no women. Where are they?
Motorsport courses won't put you in the driving seat, but they will prepare you for a job in one of the UK's biggest export-earning industries. And, as Tom is finding out, help you understand the machine you drive. And if he doesn't make it as a professional driver, at least he'll have something to fall back on. And it won't be making the tea. After the break, Vicky thrashes Alfa's new 156 GTA and a man with a passion for old Skodas.
It's an incredibly smooth ride, isn't it? Yeah. It's the four-wheel drive version of this one. It's quite striking, the look of it. Well, more and more people seem to think so. Skoda's the fastest selling car brand in Europe.
Skoda, as you can see, is trying enormously hard to convince the world it's making proper cars these days. And, with a few exceptions, it's succeeding. But there are some people who didn't reckon there was a problem in the first place. They adore old Skodas, and no one more than Jay Ivey. At one stage, he had 30.
I like Skodas because they're cheap. You can do so much to them. They don't cost a lot of money to tune, but it's the fun factor. You can just have so much fun. I think it first started when I just bought a car from an auction, probably about almost 10 years ago now. I must have waited about 6 hours to get this car. It probably shows how much I fell in love with it. Even before it went through the auction, I saw it, had a hole in the exhaust and that. Probably made it sound more sportier to me. And eventually got round to bidding for it. No one bid for it. And I think it was £100 I think we paid for it in the end. I wanted one, I wanted a two-door, I wanted a cabriolet, I wanted an old car, and it just grew and grew and grew like a family. And of course you can't keep them, you know, all outside your house. And luckily I've got the girlfriend who helps me out, and we've got the garage here, and luckily we found some space.
I'm not really bothered, I'm not really into cars at all. I mean, I don't mind him having his hobby or his obsession. As long as he's happy and I'm happy, that's fine, like, you know.
10 years on and 45 Skodas later, Jay is working on his latest project, what he calls his Evo 2.
Well, basically this car started off as a bog standard 1979 Skoda. It's got the luxury vinyl roof, which you can see, which I've kept. I've cut all the wings off, I've fitted fiberglass panels to it, I've added steering rack to it.
He is obsessed. Anywhere there's Skodas, he's got to be there.
You'll find, no, there isn't an engine in there, but the fuel tank's in the front now. You've got huge lights on the front.
He's not very romantic. He suggests things, and then when we get there, it's normally we find a Skoda.
I've ripped the major components out. You've got fully adjustable rear suspension now, a bit like a Porsche GT2 replica.
And a right nutcase.
I'm going to stick the straight cut gearbox, a Alfa Romeo engine, and hopefully the brake horse will go from 38 brake horse from the standard 1100cc unit to 125 brake using this engine.
I love it.
And you've really got to go to Czech to get your parts. Everything's so amazingly cheap. And you can go to the scrapyard and you can barter with the chap. You don't understand what the hell he's saying, but when you end up with a bill for, say, 6 or 7 panels, which is under £10, it puts a smile on your face. It's a wonderful feeling.
I admire Jay's passion. He preaches the Skoda way with evangelical zeal.
I do like to keep the old cars on the road because, unfortunately, there have been lots of vehicles in the past in our motoring heritage where cars have just come and gone, really. And I do like the rear-engine cars because they were the stablemate for Skoda for many, many years. When you're at the traffic lights in a 30-year-old Skoda and you want to have some fun, you've got to have the balls to be in that car to begin with, to take the stick that people can throw at you, to hear all the jokes that you hear time and time again. Really, the key word is balls, and I think I have a good set of balls.
I'm just admiring what some argue as the hottest Italian in years, and quite frankly, I could do this all day.
Since Alfa Romeo launched the 156 in 1997, I've loved its coupe-esque looks, its cheeky offset number plate, and that suggestive grille. My one disappointment, though, is that they've never brought out a hardcore version.
Like pop sensation Gareth Gates, the 156 had all the right lines in all the right places, but it fell short on testosterone. Now it's finally got some, with the new GTA. Usually, car manufacturers like nothing more than to hide their engine under a shiny piece of plastic, but not the Italians. They are a proud bunch. Alfa's 3.2-litre V6 is one of the prettiest I've seen this side of a Lamborghini.
For £27,000, you get 17-inch telephone dial alloys, stiffer suspension and a tasty bit of skirt. The interior is just as easy on the eye, with well-placed swoops, bulges and silver-coloured trimmings. It's also good to see that Alfa have turned the quality control up. They've included every toy there is, some extremely tactile leather and a jolly good sound system.
Not that it's needed with that V6 to listen to. Time to stop looking and start touching. Normally, the thought of 250 horses propelling the front wheels would cause a hemorrhage in any engineer's mind. And mine. I've always said that 220 was just about the limit. After all, those tyres have to steer the car as well. But Alfa seem to have struck the golden balance between lots of power and smooth steering. Well done, chaps.
The GTA has a front suspension that's so sophisticated even Alfa find it hard to explain. But one thing's clear, it gets out of shape beautifully. Though only when provoked and when the traction control is off.
And whereas the old 2-litre was the best handling 156, this is simply in a different league. Yes, there's lots of understeer if you steam into one of these greasy corners, but you can put the power on really aggressively on the way out without the steering yanking under the pressure. The engine is a belter. It is such a treat to punish it. It sounds glorious, and there's loads of grunt in every gear. Okay, you could have a bit more fun on a circuit in Subaru's Impreza four-wheel drive rival, but the GTA is a credit to all front-wheel drive machines. On normal roads, it doesn't behave like some Japanese super saloons I've driven, because it is rather comfortable. Dodgy surfaces are smoothed out well, and dare I say it, it is rather relaxing.
Where the Evos and Imprezas shake you up and egg you on, the Alfa will be happy to cruise along when you want to. One thing that's not happy though is its dreadful turning circle. 3-point turns end up being 5-point ones, but the engine noise more than makes up for this minor fault.
Before today, if anyone asked me who builds the best all-round sports saloon, I'd probably say BMW, or for the more hairy-chested, one of those tricked-up Japanese machines. But now this 156 GTA joins the gang, mixing German maturity with a zest for action. Plus, from any angle, it is simply beautiful.
Next week, Jaguar's new S-Type R tussles with BMW's mighty M5. And hot rods warming up nicely in Tamworth.
Adrian Simpson's about to start chatting online at channel5.co.uk/fifthgear. If you're about to change your car and want to know how to get the best deal, call us on 0901 565 5004 for our free car buyer's guide. Calls cost 60 pence a minute and should last no longer than 3 minutes. Next tonight, our film US Marshals with Tommy Lee Jones and Wesley Snipes.
Another driver who's covered by car insurance from More Than, sponsors of Fifth Gear.